Hey friends, Buffalo Thief, and I'm going to show you how to make our famous Nutritarian, vegetarian, vegan, yummy, tasty burgers because you just need to know. So here's a batch that just came out of the oven, and don't they look awesome? So stay tuned and we'll show you how it's done. Okay, so making bean burgers here, and I've got some parsley and cilantro already chopped up. We use this nifty little Cuisinart mini chopper, which is fabulous, so you don't have to hand chop because that takes forever. Then I've also got some mint I'm going to put in, some dill, and some basil. In the meantime, over here we've got our three kinds of beans. In this case I think we have kidney and pinto and white bean that we're going to mash up, and then we'll mix the veggies and the beans together. Okay, so there are all the greens chopped, and that looks to be about 2 cups total of chopped greens. And here are the rest of the veggies I'm going to chop up to add in. Some red pepper, mushrooms, Brussels sprouts, zucchini, red onion, and then we're going to stir in tomato paste, and this is our favorite tomato paste. It is just delicious. And then some kind of unsweetened nut butter. Tahini is great. You can also use almond butter or unsweetened peanut butter. Okay, so here are all the veggies. That is probably 5 or 6 cups of finely chopped veggies. And for beans, we like to use the Eden unsalted. Westbury also makes unsalted, so those are the types of beans we use. Okay, so here's a selection of the different spices that Rocannon puts in. And this is a 1/2 cup measuring cup, so it's probably about a 1/4 cup or a little more of combined spices. And we mashed up the beans, and they look like that. They're not, when we drain them, they're not totally dry. They're still a little moist, but pretty well mashed up. So then we're going to add some balsamic vinegar. You can see it's carefully measured out. And then we'll stir in the spices. Okay, and adding the spices, which is key. They really make a big difference for quality flavor. One thing I didn't show in the spices we added, we have this Mexican blend that we also add, which is a kind of a cumin and different kinds of spices you could mix into. So we'll stir that all up and then show you the next. So here we have our favorite tomato paste. This is really the best. And we mix the whole jar. Okay, next we're gonna stir in the tahini. Kind of a good heaping tablespoon overflowing, and we'll do 3 of those, about 1 per can of beans. So if you want to make a smaller batch, you could use less beans and less of everything else. Okay, so the beans are done with all the spices and the nut butter and the tomato paste, and doesn't that look yummy? Now we're going to stir in the veggies, and just so you know, we just opened a new jar of tahini of our favorite kind. This is one of the best, this Living Tree Raw. So we'll stir in the veggies, and then we'll add 3 cups of grain. Since we're up here, we're going to use our rolled oats, but you could also use black rice or a combination. So a cup of grain per cup of beans. The last step is stirring in the oats, and then your beans are ready to lay out and bake up.
Another little tip is to, when you've finished it with your blend, and if you need some more fluid, just add some more water to your tomato paste jar that you didn't quite get all the residue out of there, and shake it up, and then you can just pour the tomato water paste collection onto your blend, because this was a little dry today, so I just added a little bit of water from the tomato paste jar, and now you can see it's got a good texture. Now I'm going to let it sit for just about 2 or 3 minutes before I put it onto the pan for baking. Okay, so one of the keys here is, after you've got everything all blended up, you got to make your little patties, and the better you make the patty, the better the whole thing turns out. At least that's my opinion, and my opinion is the one that counts. Let's remember, my opinions matter. All right, so here we go. So what I like to do is just make a fairly small patty because I like to eat them by my fingers. I'm not trying to make a hamburger size, and I even out the sides so that they cook evenly. They bake up very evenly. And then if you want a little bit larger one, you can do that too, but I still do it the same way. And you see that we have lots and lots and lots of greens in ours. So
Okay, here's a loaded tray ready to go into the oven, which is preheated at 400 degrees. And we will let that cook for about 30 minutes. Take them out and turn them and cook them for about 15 more.